Joining me in our Washington studio is William Courtney, Ambassador William Courtney, I should say. He's an adjunct senior fellow at the RAND Corporation and former U.S. ambassador to Kazakhstan and Georgia. Ambassador, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Asieh.
I have to begin with the announcement he made talking during his speech. The invincible new cruise missile can reach anywhere in the world, cannot be stopped by U.S. shield. Is this, in fact, a message to the United States, as we were talking about, or is this a way to rally his base just a few weeks before the election?
Well, it's both. Because this speech is several months later than it normally occurs, it looks like it's a campaign speech, so rallying the base is a key part. But also, it's a kind of speech that Nikita Khrushchev used to give a half-century ago, fire-breathing speech about new missiles, new capabilities to attack the United States. We haven't seen this in a while. He has outlined an array of nuclear weapons, including the cruise missile that you mentioned, although I think a number of those capabilities are exaggerated or will be many years away.
I would be amiss if I did not ask you about Robert Mueller's investigation, since we're talking about Russia. The recent indictments, U.S. evidence of Russian interference, allegations of collusion. How concerned are you?
Well, it appears that the Trump administration is certainly becoming more concerned because several weeks ago, Secretary of Treasury Mnuchin announced a new list of oligarchs and senior government officials, but said this was not a sanctions list. Last Friday, he suddenly is saying now there are going to be new sanctions within weeks. So I think there's been some congressional blowback, if you will, against the Trump administration for not being tough enough on Russia on sanctions.
Do you believe the Trump administration has been tough enough on Russia?
The Trump administration has carried out some pretty strong activities, some sanctions, if you will, because Congress passed a new law last August with a huge bipartisan majority, so great that President Trump really couldn't veto it.
But Ambassador Courtney, in your opinion, has he condemned Moscow enough for interference, for a potential attack on U.S. democracy?
He has said less about this, but U.S. policy has actually been quite strong. Last a year ago, 2016, President Obama enacted some tough sanctions as a result of election interference, and now there are new sanctions. So sanctions are a bipartisan policy in the United States, and they're pretty tough.
Let me move on to Russia's role in Syria. The general who oversees U.S. troops in the Middle East said Russia is playing the role of both arsonist and firefighter in Syria. Your take on Russia's influence in the region?
Russia has a lot of influence with the Syrian government, with Bashar al-Assad's government. Russia supplies air power. Iran and its allies supply ground force power to help Assad control more of the country. The problem is that the country is devastated. And so even if Assad regains more control, and he will gain some additional control, the country has to be reconstructed somehow. Russia, Iran, others don't have the money to do that, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel for a better Syria.
In the situation in Eastern Ghouta, just tragic what's happening, Ambassador. And how would you describe the current state of U.S.-Russian relations?
Relations are, of course, now worse than they've been since the Soviet period and since earlier in the Soviet period, actually. The United States and the West in general would like to try to cooperate. For the Iran nuclear agreement in 2015, Russia, China, United States, European countries all worked together to do that. That's the right way for great powers to behave. But instead, with its invasion of Ukraine, the ongoing war in eastern Ukraine, its intervention in Syria, Russia's acting more like a great power spoiler than a cooperative great power. And this is tough for Russia at a time when its economy is stagnating.
We'll leave it there. Ambassador William Courtney, thank you so much, sir.